you have an interest in horses and love learning more about horses, the horse industry, teaching, or even managing your own horse business, then you're in the right place. We would love you to join us on our mission, which is to improve the lives of horses around the world through the education of riders, handlers, and trainers. So get comfortable, listen in, and enjoy.
We're talking to Christoph Hess again today. Always an exciting chat on Horse Chats. We had our first chat with Christoph Hess, number 702. So if this is the first time you've heard him on Horse Chats, I would urge you to go back, listen to number 702, and then just follow him all the way through. Always interesting, always got lots to talk about. I think his last one, actually, Collection Explained, has been the most popular so far, but that doesn't discount the rest. You've got to go back and listen to every single episode. There's certainly gems of information right through. Now, Christoph, are you there? How are you today?
Oh, thank you very much indeed. I'm happy. I'm well. In Germany, we have it now 8 o'clock and the day starts, and I hope it will start into a good week this Monday morning. And yeah, I'm very happy that I'm connected with you now and happy to explain a little bit, what is suppleness and what is relaxation.
We had a bit of a hiccup last week. True to Queensland, we had a bit of a heat wave and some afternoon storms, and there was a bit of rain around, so we weren't going to have a very good recording. So, yes, I'm glad it worked out well for you to be chatting to me now.
Yeah, although when the week starts with a podcast in Brisbane in Queensland, where we have the Olympic Games in a couple of years,
yes.
I'm very much looking forward into this direction, and I think that's a very, very important part of the world. And I love to listen to news and to read news about Queensland, and I think it's one of the most amazing parts in the world, I think.
I think so too, yeah. Now, we're talking about rhythm and relaxation today, aren't we?
Yes, we do.
Can we, I know we basically talk about rhythm and relaxation in the horse, but can we also include a little bit of rhythm and relaxation in the rider, or certainly the suppleness and relaxation anyway for the rider?
Yeah, I think both is very, very close connected. You can't ride a supple horse, a relaxed horse, when you're looking from the rider's point of view, when you are not relaxed, when you are not supple. So therefore, I think it's very important that the rider always is realizing that he is important, she is important, what she is doing. And when someone has a problem, a challenge with his horse, first of all, you have to think, what can I do better? What is my problem? And often the problem is especially that the rider is mentally and physically not really relaxed, not really supple. Often he goes into the stable and he is not focused to his horse, not focused enough in the situation in which he wants to be, because he has so much trouble maybe in the office or in other things in the family or so. So therefore, he is not really mentally on the way he has to be to start. And horses have a very, very sensitive feeling. When they realize that the rider is not really 100% focused on them, then they will not find their own suppleness and relaxation. So therefore, it's very important that the rider, when he starts, is mentally with his horse and mentally in his own balance. That's for me very important. And the second thing is, when you are not physically, and to be honest, both is very close connected, the physics and the mental situation. And when you are not physically relaxed and balanced, and this is very close connected, the balance in the saddle and the relaxation in the saddle. And when you don't have it, it's at the end of the day, I want to say it a little bit more and underline it a little bit more. Therefore, I say it into this direction. Then I would say cruel for the horse. It's very, very bad for the horse when the rider is not in balance in the saddle. And therefore, for me, it is so very, very important that the rider is finding his balance in the saddle to be relaxed, because relaxation and balance are very, very close connected. Sometimes I'm not sure what's more important, balance or the relaxation. At the end of the day, both is important, I would say. And therefore, that's for me the main point, that the rider will realize it and always have to put his fingers into his direction and her direction, has to say, what can I do better? And not always a finger into the direction of the horse, what can the horse do better? Often I hear, oh, my horse is not relaxed, my horse is not supple, and my horse is not in rhythm, and all these things. And when I watch the picture, when I see the horse and the rider, when they send me, for instance, a video, something like this, and I say, okay, it's fine, but the problem is not the horse. The problem is the rider, because he is not with the horse's movements. He is sitting on the horse, but not coming into the horse's movement, and his balance is not balanced with the horse. And I think that's very important. And the very, very best riders in the world, they have a wonderful feeling for balance. One of my favorite riders in the world is Andrew Hoy, from Victoria originally, and now based in England since ages, and one of the most successful Olympic riders in the world. And he is representing Australia, winning 2 Olympic medals in Tokyo a year ago, or less than a year ago. And he has such a lovely balance when he's riding cross-country, when he's show jumping, when he's riding dressage, but mainly when he's riding cross-country. It's amazing watching this guy who is around 60 years of age, how balanced he is, how relaxed he is, how supple he is. And when you are balanced, when you are supple, then at the end of the day, you have a happy horse. And that's when I see Andrew, and I like him as a person, I like him as a rider very, very much. And then you see a wonderful harmony between horse and rider. And without relaxation, without suppleness, without balance, you never, ever will get a true harmony between the rider and the horse, or the horse and the rider. And you never, ever will get a happy horse.
Yeah, I think that harmony is something that we certainly all strive for. But it's nice that you're saying we want harmony right from the beginning. Like, it's not just a matter of, well, you'll get harmony once you're up the collection level, but we want the harmony right from the start. We talk about rhythm, relaxation. We had a chat about the training scale. But just remind me, I think that was episode 843, but just remind me, where is rhythm and relaxation on the training scale? Are they grouped together at the same level, or are they 2 different levels?
Yeah, when we look to the scale of training, the pyramid of training, we start with rhythm.
Yep.
And for me, rhythm and tempo are very close connected, but the wording is rhythm. And then the second wording is suppleness. In the US, they say relaxation. There was a big discussion. Is it relaxation or is it suppleness for me? And therefore, I love your question to have both words in the first question, suppleness and relaxation. For me, it's similar. And I know that there was a discussion years ago when we had a discussion about the handbook dressage of the FEI. And I know the Brits had the wording suppleness and the Americans relaxation. I know they had sent me, some Americans had sent me messages and said, oh, Christoph, you have to fight for relaxation. I said, oh, I think it's for me, but okay, I'm not a native speaker in English. For me, both words are similar, suppleness and relaxation. So that's step number 2, the first relaxation. And I add tempo, frequency, rhythm is it. The second is suppleness, and I would add relaxation. Then we have connection, contact as step number 3. And then we have the impulsion. And then we have the straightness. And then at the end, we have the collection. And yes, I want to underline what you just said, that harmony is for me the highest goal. And we can't say, okay, we start to ride and we need years as we have a proper collection with our horses. And then, okay, then we have harmony. No, harmony is for me a goal which we should have from the very beginning and not just the end of the story, harmony. No, That's for me the highest goal. When I would explain someone, what's the goal, what is the spirit of good riding, I would say harmony. And I think harmony we can have on all levels, on grassroots level and on Grand Prix level. And in between, always harmony. And harmony we should try to find from the very beginning with a young horse and with a young rider. And therefore, it's very important for the young rider in the learning process, and a rider is, to be honest, always in the learning process, that the rider will learn to be supple and relaxed and balanced in the saddle, and then he comes with his horse on a harmony on different levels. We have 10.0 level of harmony, and we have lower level harmony, but still harmony, and not harmony in the red part lower than 5. I think harmony, we need a harmony, if I look from the judge's point of view, into the direction of rather good. I would love, because then we do something positive for our horses, because I think the community, the society looks very, very carefully what we are doing with our horses. We have many, many people all over the world, and I know it in Germany as well. They say, oh, it's better horses have in the zoo, and I have horses just out in the fields, but don't touch the horses, don't start to ride the horses. They are, at the end of the day, wild animals. And when we do something with our horses under the saddle, when we train our horses, we have to explain this very carefully so that the public will understand it. And on the other hand, we have to do good and positive things with the horses and not cruel things. We don't have to do anything against the horses. We have to do everything what we are doing with the horses. And the goal is in harmony with the horses. That's for me very, very important.
Yep, and I think right through your chats, Christoph, you've always had that thinking, had that line, which is why, of course, you've produced such great horses and great riders. The insistence of that harmony is very important. Yeah. So, we see a horse and we're thinking, and I know that you've said that the scale of training, it's not just do one level, stop, do another level, stop. It's like a rainbow. It melds, into each other. We focus on this and then we go on.
Yes.
What should we have before we focus too much on establishing a rhythm? Or even just the relaxation? Is that, like as an instructor, I can say, oh, sure, my horse is relaxed, or a rider might come along and say, oh, this horse is so relaxed. But what key things are we looking for when we talk about relaxation?
Well, first of all, rhythm and relaxation, these are, from my point of view, the most important parts of the scale of training. So therefore, there is not a lot of duties a rider has to fulfill before he starts into this direction. But I think very important is, and to be honest, in the very first part, or in the first part of my life, I was not so very much focused into this direction. I was very much looking from the rider's point of view, looking from the saddle's point of view. And the more and more I teach horse and rider combination, the more and more I try to get a feeling for the horses, the more and more I realize that's very important, that what we are doing with the horses on the ground is very, very important. How we have the horses in the stable, how happy they are there. And I love it very much to see that the horses in Australia are more or less 365 days a year outside. They have their small houses outside, and they have their small or bigger paddocks, and they live there all year round. And when I look from the horse's point of view, from the horse's nature's point of view, I'm absolutely sure that that's the best way horses want to live. And mainly the eventing riders do it very much as well all over the world, the good ones. And the others more and more as well. When I started my career in the German Equestrian Federation, I think more or less all horses had been stabled in. Now it's very important that they have a good life outside. The owners love it when horses have a good life, and horses are happy when owners are happy, or riders are happy when they know that the horses have a good life, and part of the good life is being outside in the fields. More or less the whole day, or depends a little bit of the season, depends a little bit of the ground, but I think that's a change, a little bit of the, I wouldn't say mentality of the riders. Maybe it's a mentality, maybe the focus the riders have. And I think the more happy a horse is when it's outside in the fields, and the easier it is that the horse will find good relaxation and suppleness under the saddle. Like a horse which is more or less a whole day in the stable, gets very much eating, and then they are full of power. And then they come into the dressage or show jumping arena, then they are like rodeo horses often, and they are not relaxed. And then it's very difficult and sometimes dangerous, to be honest, really dangerous for the riders to bring the horse into a good relaxation. And then the riders are often not brave. They don't canter the horses in the light seat. No, they try to stop the horses. And the more they are stopping the horses, the less the horses will find their relaxation and suppleness. So, because horses are flight animals, and when a horse is unhappy because the rider is using the reins and the bit, and sometimes special bits to stop the horses, the more the rider is doing this, the more unhappy the horse is, and the more the flight instinct starts, because that's an instinct. The horse is not thinking. No, it's an instinct, and then the horse tries to run away. And the more the horse tries this, the more the rider stops the horse, and the less the horse will find the right suppleness and relaxation. So therefore, I think the more the whole concept, the 24 hours concept, is a good one, a horse-friendly one, the better the situation will be for the rider under the saddle, the more happy the horse is. And then it's much easier to ride the horse with good relaxation and suppleness, especially when you are an amateur rider, an adult amateur. And that's, from my point of view, very, very important for these guys, for these riders. And we should be happy having lots of riders who do it looking from the amateur's point of view. And for them, it's very, very good, especially when they are a little bit limited with their time because of the family and their business and so on. And they maybe have not everyday time to ride the horses. Therefore, then I think it's great when the horses are outside, when they have enough time to spend outside, to trot, to canter, to walk outside, because this is the best way for the horses to find their relaxation and suppleness. And the easier it will be when they start with the rider, their training process.
Okay, so I think you explained that so well, and we are very lucky in Australia to have the land to be able to turn the horses out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you were looking at a horse and you said, this horse shows exactly what I want, and we could do it two separate things, suppleness or relaxation, or bring it all together. This is exactly what I want to see. What are you looking for? What would that horse be showing you that you say, this is exactly what I want to see when we talk about suppleness and relaxation?
I would say, first of all, and I'm looking from the rider's point of view, I think that's for me very important, the feeling which a rider has in the saddle. And then I would explain the picture, the body language of the horse. But first of all, and this is for me very important, and I want to explain it because I think that's a key point which every rider has to realize to become a good rider, to have a good horse under the saddle, a well-trained horse under the saddle, and especially when you're looking from the relaxations and suppleness point of view. First of all, a rider has to have the feeling that the horse is in front of him, of her, at her driving aids. This is for me a 10.0 key point, having the horse in front of the rider. And this is what instructors, coaches, trainers, riding teachers, and so on have to explain, have to teach, have to train, to bring the horse in front of the rider. This sounds easy, but it's very difficult to have the horse sensitive in front of the rider. That's, for me, the key point of good riding and the key point of bringing a horse into a good relaxation and suppleness. A horse which is not in front of the rider, a horse which is behind the driving aids of the rider, will never find a good balance, mental and physical balance, and especially never will find a proper relaxation and suppleness. That's, for me, the key point. So then, back to your question. How looks the situation? A supple horse will move, swing from behind with active hind legs, swinging back, well-stretched neck, and a situation that the horse is seeking the bit, so that the horse is using the whole body and using the back as a bridge between hind legs and front legs. This is, for me, the overall view which I want to see. And then I want to see the horse in a good rhythm, absolutely clear rhythm in walk, 4-beat, trot, 2-beat, and canter, 3-beat on both hands. That's important. And I want to see, or to listen. It's watching and listening. I want to listen that the horse has a good elasticity. You don't hear the horse very much, but you hear the breathing in rhythm. So this is, for me, important, so that you see that's the overall picture. Then I think the breathing is very important, so that you listen that the horse has a right rhythm in breathing. That's for me very important, because a horse which has not a rhythm with this never will find a proper relaxation. And the tail is swinging, the ears are in front, and the whole picture looks positive. The horse loves what it does. This is a little bit what you have to learn, looking from the riders and spectators and so on point of view, that you get a feeling, is there a motivation? Is the horse happy to do this job? This is, for me, very important, that the horse loves what the horse has to do. And this is, for me, another very important point, a kind of a key point, that the rider will give the horse a feeling of being motivated by him or herself. The horse has to love what the rider wants to do. And this is, for me, a key point, that the rider knows this, that he can't do anything against the horse. The horse is not his or her slave. No, the horse is his or her partner. And this is, for me, very important. And when you have a partner, both have to love it, what they do, and not only one part of the partnership love it, and the other part has to do what the other wants. So, and this never will work. And this is, for me, very important. And a horse never will find proper relaxation and suppleness when this kind of partnership is not the goal. Therefore, that's important that young riders learn this, that this is one of the highest goals which we have.
I think that the way you've explained that Beautiful. You know, people that think their horse is relaxed just because they're, you know, running around on the forehand or the horse is going to sleep. That
Yeah,
doesn't that's not relaxation. That's just laziness or inattentive to
absolutely.
the aids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
I love the way you've explained that. Beautiful. Now, as far as school exercises, you know, thinking about the circles, changes of rein across the diagonal, down the centre line, things like that. Are there any particular school exercises we can use to train suppleness and relaxation?
Although I would say two things are important for me. First of all, maybe it is the most effective and testing way how good the relaxation and suppleness is, and to get a good relaxation and suppleness is to write hundreds, thousands, millions of transitions between trot and canter and trot. I would love to do it on the circle line. And when you are able to write these kind of transitions between 2-beat in trot and 3-beat in canter and back from 3-beat in canter to 2-beat in trot, when you do this, having always the feeling that the horse is in front of the rider, and always having the feeling that I, looking from the canter, are starting the trot and not finishing the canter, but starting the trot, always doing everything with driving aids. When you do this and have this feeling, that's amazing. This is, for me, the 10.0 exercise when you do this. And this is very difficult to do it properly. Therefore, I said 100,000 and millions times you have to do it, and with all horses. And this is, for me, the key point. When you are able to do this, then you can school a horse from grassroots level till Grand Prix. But this is really difficult, to have the horse straight, to have the horse independent of the reins, to have the horse with a 10.0 feeling in front of the driving aids, in balance, and so on. And these things are very, very important. Therefore, I think this is one of two very, very important exercises which you have to school. And this is testing the horse at the end of the day and testing the rider. And the second exercise I want to explain is leg yielding. I think a horse has, first of all, to accept the forward driving aids. And maybe after half a year, with a young horse, you have to start to explain the horse the sideways driving aids. And this is, for me, very important, that the young horse learns both being in front of the rider and using the forward and the sideways driving aids. And leg yielding, we can do it at the long side, inside leg, outside leg, and we can do it from the quarter line, from the center line to the track, or the other way around, from the track to the quarter line or to the center line, or we can do it when we change direction through the whole long diagonal. I like this very much. You have just flexion. The horse is straight. Horse is flexed against the horse's movement and has to accept the leg. And when the horse is accepting the leg in a sensitive way, that's the best way so that the horse will find the relaxation, because of the crossing the legs when being in the leg yielding situation and leg yielding. This is very good for the relaxation in the horse's body and in the horse's mind, especially when you have horses which have a lot of tension, the opposite of suppleness and relaxation. For these horses, it is amazing to do it, especially when you have, and in Australia, you have lots of beautiful thoroughbred horses. They are often hot and they are not accepting the legs very well. And that's, for me, a very, very important exercise, to use the leg in the sideways situation, that the rider is able to ride with the legs and not without legs. Many riders think, okay, my horse is tense and my horse is a little bit running away. Okay, therefore I don't use the legs. And that's exactly a step into the wrong direction. You have to use the legs, and especially when you have horses full of tension. And the 10.0 exercise is asking for leg yielding in all different variations.
Christoph, you've spoken a little bit about any resistance and evasions, but now can you just give us a bit more detail about evasions and resistance that the horse could offer us? Instead of offering us suppleness and relaxation, there's certain evasions or resistances that they would give us. What are we looking for there? What should we be aware of and realise that this is not what we're asking for? The horse might be a bit confused as to what we're asking, or, you know, maybe physically not able to do it. What are we looking for there?
A clear answer I don't have, because when I do it in the way I had just explained it with the last answers, you will get deviations. And this is for me very important, that you do everything that you don't get, especially resistances. And many riders, okay, I agree, I would say more in the old days than today. They started to ride a little bit more looking from the height point of view. They all wanted to try to find who is the boss. And they knew, I am the boss in the saddle. And that's the first step to get resistance. I think maybe because we have mainly women in the saddle, they think often, to be honest, not into the right direction. They often think very much from the human's point of view and not from the horse's point of view. But they think very much into the direction, how can I come together with the horse, with my feeling. Men often, and in the old days, I think not so much today, in the old days, they started to fight with the horses very much and said, oh, the horse is a little bit into the direction of being my slave, has to do what I want to. And then you have resistances, and then it's very difficult. When you have resistance and the horse is fighting against you, and the horse is not willing to be in a good cooperation with you, then you have to think, what can I change? Not what should the horse change. Often these kind of people say, oh, what should the horse change? No, what can I change? And often the problem is, but that's not a special problem for relaxation and suppleness. Often the problem is that the horse is unable to understand the rider, because often it's a problem of communication. The horse doesn't know what the rider wants to do, and the rider is asking maybe too difficult questions. And then the rider has to ask for more easy things. And whenever something, but this is not a special problem of relaxation and suppleness, when there is a problem, then you should do a step backwards, or 2 steps backwards, or 3 steps backwards. It's not good to stay on the level on which you are now and say, oh, you have to. No, I have to ask, looking from the rider's point of view, what can I do better, so that the horse will understand me. And this is, I think, the point which is important, not to get evasions and resistances. And that should be the goal, not to get it, and not to try to fix the resistance. That's a little bit my understanding. And I'm not sure whether you are happy with this.
No, I'm very happy. I think that certainly reflects your philosophy, your training philosophy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think that's a perfect answer. And I think, just don't be afraid to go 1 step or 2 steps or 3 steps back to something that's a bit more established. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, looking at a young horse who's starting to give us a little, we're looking at rewards now. The horse is trying to, maybe still a little confused, but trying to offer something. What can we reward the horse and encourage them to do if we're working towards suppleness and relaxation? How can we, what's a good reward that's sort of there at the moment?
I often say, when I have judges in front of me, I say, when you are judging it is very easy. You have only to have in mind 3 questions. Question 1 is the rider who is in front of me when I'm sitting in the judge's box, is the rider able to ride the test without using the reins, also with a long rein? Is the rider able to give the reins during all the different exercises, give and retake the reins? And is the rider able to ride everything with one hand? And when the rider is able to do, when the judge thinks the rider in front of me is able to do it with one hand, giving and retaking the reins, and riding with a long rein the whole test. When you think this is in a perfect way possible, please, please, please give the rider a 10. And when you would think at the end of the day the rider is not able to do it, then give a 0. Okay, that's a little bit black and white. But this is for me important. The reward is that the rider is able to ride his horse, her horse, with a long rein. Long rein, or in the test you have sometimes a loose, or the free walk with a loose rein. Both is possible, loose as well. At the beginning, long rein and then loose rein. And in the old days, I had a very good contact, gentleman in Germany named Paul Stecken. And he was a former soldier in the cavalry. He trained Dr. Rainer Klimke, he trained Ingrid Klimke, and many, many other riders. And when I started my judge's career, I was judging quite often with him, and we had a good relationship. And Mr. Stecken called me quite often. And in the old days, he was responsible for testing young stallions. In Germany, young stallions had a sporting test in the old days for 100 days, now 50 days and special assistance, but in the old days, 100 days. And Mr. Stecken was one of the trainer of these 100 days testing stallions. And when he called me, and I said, Mr. Stecken, how was your day? And he said, Mr. Hess, I had a wonderful day. And then I knew what a wonderful day was for him. And then he said, Mr. Hess, I have 16 stallions, and I had always 4 stallions in the arena, and all horses in canter with a loose rein so that the rider is able to put the buckle into his fingers. And when you are able to ride with canter, with a loose rein, not helping the horse, then they are really relaxed and supple. So therefore, that's for me the 10.0 exercise, to canter a horse with a loose rein, not helping the horse finding the balance. And that's super. Then you see, is the horse balanced? Is the horse coming in this situation on the forehand? Is the horse running away? Is the horse up with the neck? And. But when the horse maintains exactly, as an example, the canter, which the horse had when the rider is riding with the shorter rein, and helping the horse a little bit more with his position in the saddle, then it's for me the best way to reward and to get a feedback from the horse that the horse is happy, that the horse that understands the rider's aids, and that the horse is relaxed and supple.
Yep, perfect. Now, if we've got a horse who's relaxed and supple, okay, they've done their work, they've ridden, hundreds, thousands, millions of circles doing transitions, leg yielding, they're sort of leg yielding, able to do that. They're happy. The rider, your friend would be very happy with the way they were going. And I don't want you to answer this in full because you give me so much information. What I'd like to do is say, this is what we should work on next. And then the next time we chat, we can talk about that in a little bit more detail. Does that sound all right?
Very good. Yes, I agree totally.
Yep.
I agree totally, yeah. I think the more you think into this direction, the more you come into the situation riding and training horses. And my understanding is that we have to teach our students into the direction of feeling. It is not always technique to explain, do this and this and this and this. No, we have to stimulate them to get the right feeling. And the more feeling you have, the better it is. I think the very best riders in the world, and back to Andrew Hoy, he has such a lovely feeling. And I know him since ages. And yeah, he tries and he wants to be perfect, but always looking from the feelings point of view. And he is open for everything. And I think that's very important, that we be a little bit like Andrew. We need Andrew a little bit in our heart and in our head. And therefore, I think he is an amazing ambassador of riding with feeling, finding the balance in the saddle. And this makes horses happy. And this we should explain maybe in the next chat when we have, or when I have the opportunity to discuss it with you again later.
Lovely. Yes, I'm certainly looking forward to that. And, you might sort of use Andrew Hoy as an example again, or, I don't know. I'm sure we'll have a great time. So I'm looking forward to chatting with you again. And Christoph, if people would like to ask you a bit more information, contact you. What's the best way? Can we give you details and just have them at the bottom of the page, or what would you prefer?
Although to be honest, I'm open. Maybe you can ask the people who are listening us what they think. I'm open into this direction, and contact could be a wonderful next chat for us. Yes. What I maybe can add, because I have a new project, and if someone wants to do it, it's possible. I'm part of a new project, and I think in the time when we have now the COVID situation and people can't travel around when they want to give clinics, I said I want to do a little bit online. If there's someone who wants to get an online feedback from me, that's possible. I'm part of a new project called On Air Dressage by Christoph Hess. That's the title, On Air Dressage by Christoph Hess, and I will get a new homepage the next days. And then if someone wants to get a feedback, he can send a short video clip, maybe 4 to 6 minutes, training or a test, and I watch it, and then I send it back, or the person who is doing it, the producer, is sending it back with my comments, and then you get my comments on the video clip. Maybe that's for someone who wants to get a feedback from me, looking from the judges and looking from the coach's point of view, an idea. So therefore, I'm open for this, and I would be happy if someone from Australia will be part of this new project.
I think that's a perfect opportunity for many people. I think that's absolutely perfect. Now, Christoph, what is the name of the website where, if they go, we'll put this on the Horse Chats page as well, but if someone's listening, what's
I think On Air. The title is On Air Dressage by Christoph Hess. On Air, and then my homepage. I have an old homepage so far, but this guy is creating a new homepage, and he is more or less ready. More or less, I have some details, and my homepage will be in the German language and in the English language, and so therefore everybody can, although the English, the German, and English-speaking people can read it, and then you get all information there. But I think On Air, On Air Dressage, On Air, and if someone doesn't will find it, they can send me via WhatsApp or via email account chat, and then I can explain it. But to be honest, I'm not a technique person, so therefore I think it should work with On Air Dressage.
Okay. All right, perfect.
But you can publish if you want mobile number, and then they can call me or send a message via WhatsApp. That's the easiest way. Or Messenger, Facebook is possible as well.
Christoph, you've got quite a few contacts. They probably just need to Google you and find that. But it'll probably be. We'll put those details at the bottom of the page anyway. You know, you've got a few different things in different languages. So we'll do something in English, because I think if someone's listening, they can start with English and go from there. Perfect. All right. Looking forward to chatting with you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. All the best. Bye-bye.
If you've enjoyed this chat, then please comment, rate and subscribe. If you'd like any changes or recommendations for guests, then please contact us through horsechats.com. And while you're online, have a look at the government-accredited courses at internationalhorsecollege.com. Registered Training Organisation 31352.
Remember that our comments and instructions are general in nature and do not take into consideration your individual horses or your individual ability and circumstances. If you enjoyed this podcast, then please leave your comment below.